listening to the Old Titans podcast, which includes whispering from our co-host. This is the other co-host that doesn't whisper during the opening music. This is John Paul, the co-host with the mostest.
This is the main host, B-Man.
And we have guests this week from Hard at Work.
Oh, I'm hard at work, Matt, y'all.
I'm hard at work, Nick.
I thought you had a better...
He does. He had the, what up?
I didn't. Y'all want me to do that? What up? Co-workers, hard at work, Matt. Right across from me, hard at work, Nick.
No. My moral compass. You didn't go.
My moral compass, Darth Vader himself, Thanos in the flesh. The one true... Oh, not supposed to say that one yet. They haven't done that. Hard at work, Nick. Hard at work, Nick. I keep giving him new names. It's a lot.
All right. Well,
I give him new names all the time.
Oh.
Not to his face, though, of course. Because
okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of them. Why don't you share them?
I'll share with the back later on when he's not around.
Fun. Alrighty. Just so everybody knows, there's going to be some job openings coming up here.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. All right. So, here we are. Hard at work. I'm not making a joke this time. We are hard at work.
Nice.
We are hard at work looking at the Marvel movies this week. We're skipping the news. We're skipping the B-Man question of the week. We're skipping everything except looking at the Marvel Universe, the MCU, the main pool of MCU-related stuff that led to Infinity War.
Hey, before we talk about this, I'm going to point this out real fast. We made a huge list. We're talking about this list today.
Yes, we all prepared ahead of time. These are not spur of the
And
moment.
I'm actually prepared about this time.
Sweet, man. I'm
You guys
proud of
really-
you.
Are you
Proud
really?
of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had noticed John Paul color-coded them.
He did.
He did.
That helped me a lot, actually.
Did he really?
No, yeah, so I went through, because for the listeners out there, he has 5 different categories. Really enjoyed, average, below average, and then didn't enjoy. So I went through and did the color first. So I was like, oh, I enjoyed this movie, or I really enjoyed this movie. And then did the numbers. Helped me so much.
Yeah, I made it a lot easier.
I was just pointing out here, because, he's Mr. DC and all these DC movies are great. Out of the 18 movies he saw, 7 he didn't enjoy, and 2 he thought was just below average.
Hey, man, different strokes for different folks.
Well, I know, but I'm like, every one of these movies is better than Batman v Superman.
God, the shot's fired
And better than
already.
Suicide Squad. Every one of these.
We haven't even fully
Not to
explained the
him.
bit yet. I mean, come on.
So you will notice that the DC guy didn't bring up anything DC.
I maybe should have. Okay, you're right.
You know, I want to focus on something that has been, completely granted, incredibly successful.
Correct.
Even their crappy movies have been incredibly successful. Which, I mean, yeah, there've been. If you go to the whole pantheon, forget about the MCU let up. If you look at all Marvel movies of all time, they've had some really bad ones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is true.
1970s Doctor Strange, things like that. I mean, they've had some really bad movies. It can happen. But what we're looking at right now is everything that started with Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, all the way up to Infinity War.
Yeah.
That's the pool.
Ant-Man and Wasp, actually.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp, you're right.
Which I did not watch
20
yet.
films.
All 20 films. There are side, there's X-Men, there's Deadpools, everything else. We're not touching any of that right now. That's all completely separate. So, we're going to start at the bottom. We'll start at number 20.
Now, before we talk about this, too, you and I have to abstain from 2 of them, right? Because you have not seen Guardians 2 and...
Right.
What else did you not see?
Panther. Black Panther. So, yes, I do not have anything ranked at number 20 or number 19.
And I have not seen Ant-Man and Wasp yet, so I guess we'll start with How to Work first, have them go number 20 on.
That makes sense. What do y'all have at number 20?
Oh, okay. This one's obvious. I got Incredible Hulk.
Obvious,
Number
huh?
20. Yeah.
We're the same on that one.
So in this case, just for everyone's interest, the idea of doing this show, I mean, plenty of people have done things like this. It's not like it's an original idea, but in reading an article on CBR.com, a writer there ranked the 20 movies. And I looked over his ranking, and I thought many of his choices were very, very dumb. I'll just say it. Very dumb, very wrong.
I agree.
Including, and we won't agree on this one, but including his choice of number 20, which was Incredible Hulk. He was very harsh on Incredible Hulk.
As was most people.
I don't know.
I say
I
that.
don't see it.
It's not really most
Not
people,
most,
a
but
lot
more
of
people than other movies, I
The
think.
thing is, I'm biased. I love the Hulk. One of my favorite characters. So I enjoyed it.
I heard a lot more people say negative things about, say, Thor 2 than I did people say negative about Incredible Hulk. Usually people would say, you mean that Ang Lee thing? That was where people go.
That would be number 25 right now.
Yeah, I just
Keep going. Keep going. Lower on
As far as I
that.
can think.
Critically, it's the lowest rated movie out of all these.
Okay.
well, no, it's for Rotten Tomato. You mean?
Yeah.
It's second to last.
Second
What was
to
last?
Thor: Dark World is actually second,
Okay.
or is actually last.
Okay.
But yeah,
it's
so
the one critics had the hardest time with, but it is still considered fresh. I mean, I'll sit here and say it's not a terrible movie. There are things to be enjoyed there, but as far as this list goes, I think it's the worst made one.
yeah, I agree with that.
And while like I said, I abstained from this, the two, of the two I didn't put on there, obviously, if something had to take that spot between those two, it'd be Guardians 2. I did not see Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and, well,
You'd never plan to.
don't plan to. I had no reason to waste money on it. I didn't waste money on the first
I
one.
own the movie. You can borrow the movie.
But I borrowed the first one from you and did not enjoy it, so why even waste the 2 hours of my life on
That's
it?
fair.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. Again, 2 hours of my life,
Yeah, that's true.
Black Panther, on the other hand, has gotten great critical acclaim. I do want to see it. Just haven't gotten to it yet.
Again, I own that. I can let you borrow that.
All right. So how about number 19? Because you do have a number 19.
I do,
so we'll go
19.
with who hasn't talked yet? That's it, man.
Probably need some heat in a second, but Iron Man 3. Did not like it. Did not like Iron Man 3 at all.
No heat from over here.
Really?
I didn't put it at number 19. I put Thor: The Dark World at number 19, but I understand Iron Man 3 being down there. That's not a great movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see where I have Iron Man. It is lower than you would expect, probably, but yeah, I have Thor: The Dark World at 19 as well.
So y'all are right in sync right here.
So far,
Look at this craziness.
That's
we spend too much time together.
Oh no, it'll start diverging pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
Already.
but yeah, Thor: Dark World was just not a well put
And this
together
was one
movie.
that I would have thought up until a couple months ago would be much higher on my list because I really liked it when it first came out. But we just recently rewatched it, and yeah, it's rough.
And that's the problem right now. I think if I rewatched a lot of these movies again, I would change everything. Because they're not so fresh in my mind anymore. It's hard to. There's 20 movies we watched.
Yeah, we made an attempt to go through all these before Infinity War came out. We didn't make it all the way, but I would say at least half this list we've watched within the last couple months.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So you
And I
guys-
will say, when I was thinking about my numbers, a lot of it did go into rewatchability because a lot of movies have a first reaction and then a reaction later. We did a review of Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman movie, which at the time we really enjoyed,
Absolutely.
and now really can't sit through it
Terrible
anymore.
right now. It is.
That's not what we're talking about on these necessarily, but some movies are just more rewatchable than other movies.
Yeah.
Well, test
Good,
of
bad,
time
or
as
otherwise.
well.
Yeah, I mean, even some that were definitely well below another movie. That one that was ranked much higher, just you can't watch it over and over and over. There's just certain ones that just can't do it.
Yeah, and of all the ones on this list, 19 and 20 are the two that when I will inevitably go back and rewatch all these again, those are the two I'm going to be like, man, I really don't want to watch this.
Yeah. Can we just skip these?
Fair
All
enough.
right, so moving on to number 18.
Go ahead, John Paul.
Since I have not spoken, I have to speak, and I know I'm going to get trashed by the guy sitting here to my right on this one. I have to go with Captain America: Civil War as my least favorite of all the Marvel
That's
movies.
so ridiculous.
And just so you know how I get to these, part of it is rewatchability. Part of it is, like, let's take Guardians for a minute. Guardians was a well-made movie. I did not enjoy Guardians, but it was made well. Civil War, much like The Last Jedi, I don't think was made well. Forget about whether I enjoyed it. That was separate. I think it was made poorly.
Okay, because I enjoyed it. What did you not like about it?
Yeah, go ahead and hit us with those reasons again.
we
It's
did
been a
one-
while.
Yeah, I'll give you the very quick one because we want to get through this list
No,
here.
one thing I will admit, the fight was forced between Iron Man and Cap.
That
was
is the
forced, yes.
core concept of the entire movie is setting these two characters up against
How
each
is
other.
it forced?
The whole reason of he killed it. Bucky's responsible. He's not responsible to fight you anyways. The very end of the movie, I don't care if he's
I
responsible
mean,
or not.
the fight at the end of the movie is that their entire conflict is forced. Cap,
come
who
on, guys.
stands up for himself in every other situation. He gives speeches. He's very much a leader, and in every scene, Tony Stark will give tons of reasons to be on one side of the argument, and Cap would sit there and just look sad.
That's because Cap's on the wrong side of the argument.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he knows, and we know this from. We probably shouldn't get too in the weeds of this, but we know if you go back and watch the Captain America movies, you go back and watch any of these movies that pertain to these two characters, you know from the very beginning of Marvel Cinematic Universe, you just don't realize that Bucky is the one that killed Tony Stark's parents. Like, that is very clear. That's very obvious, and Captain America knows it. So when all this is going
But
down,
Cap
and
also
he's talking
knows.
about bringing him in, he knows that if this ever comes to light, Tony Stark's not going to let
Cap
this.
was also aware that Bucky was brainwashed.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, just put all that aside. Like, if you knew somebody murdered one of your close friends' parents, regardless of the circumstances, you don't have much to say about that. You're going to be like,
But-
"Ugh."
And it won't get too
Yeah,
much
you're
into
going
it.
to try to keep quiet anyway.
But
I still enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good.
and then just the whole ending. Basically, the bad guy, his entire plan was around, well, I'm going to set things up and hope I get lucky. And there was nothing that actually said these people were going to show up here and fight. His entire ending was just pure luck.
His ending was just to get the video out there and make
Yeah, if
start
nobody
the rift. He had no clue anyone was going to show up at the bunker.
Yeah, if nobody shows up, he just takes the video evidence and now he spreads it to the world.
Yeah, he just wanted to start a rift between the superheroes
Just
by
for
releasing this video.
But I just didn't
And it
think
worked.
any of it
It
made
worked.
sense. I just really didn't think it
Okay.
logically flowed.
Since
It
I
made
got him
sense.
here, though, just for sake of argument, Rotten Tomatoes overall it's number 7 out of 20,
Okay.
and reviewer score is 6 out of 20. So
And obviously, it made a ton of money. I mean, it
1.1 billion, I think, right? Well, that was worldwide.
And
for-
CBR had it at 6, so.
So that's the 6 best reviewed.
Yes.
and it was
All of them.
and it was the
Number 6?
what, number 6 on the box office as well.
Well, see, there you go.
And I give that movie credit for introducing Spider-Man into the MCU in a really cool way.
Absolutely.
Spider-Man.
His introduction in that scene was great. That fight at the airport was really cool. Last Jedi had a lot of really cool scenes. It didn't make it a good movie.
Let's not talk about that.
Okay, so that was my number 18. Moving around the room.
Number 18, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. Iron Man 3 is number 18 for me.
Fair enough.
That movie is clunky, and
but
this
you liked
was
it just slightly better than 2.
no, absolutely not.
Didn't you have 2?
We'll get to 2 later.
Oh, okay.
This was another one, kind of like Thor: Dark World with Nick, where going back, I was like, yeah, I like this movie, and then watching it again, I was like, oh, yeah, this isn't.
See, when I first
This
saw
isn't
Thor
very
Dark
good.
World, I haven't watched that again, so I gotta watch that movie again, Dark World. Iron Man 3, the last fight was weak.
Yeah, which I thought it was interesting him moving from suit to suit, but
Yeah, but
the spectacle wasn't there the way it should have
the
been.
guy's close combat, clearly, and Iron Man's a ranged character, so he kept going in close combat to this guy. I'm like, just sit back and blow this guy away. With all these suits you have.
Well, they're ripping them.
Maybe they didn't have the budget to do a whole lot of
No, they had
long-range
the- they had
stuff.
what
This is
budget they
Disney,
wanted to
they're
do.
strapped for money.
That's true. Nick,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we're the same still. And this is my first one that jumped from didn't enjoy to just below average. Because
Right.
this is an enjoyable movie a lot of the time. But I just had a lot of problems with it.
Yeah,
So-
I'm there with
So
you.
18, 19, and 20, Hard at Work is still completely in sync.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll blow that sync off again, because Doctor Strange. I didn't care for it at
I
all.
get behind that. I would
Do
put
you?
it that low,
Do
but
you?
I did
Okay.
not like Doctor Strange the way a lot
High
of people
five,
rave.
high five.
Yeah.
People were raving about this movie,
Yeah.
and when I saw it late. I didn't see the whole theater spectacle that people saw. The effects were amazing, but Doctor Strange himself was very unlikable. I can't remember any of the characters' names in this movie at all. Like, none of the characters stood out to me.
Doctor Strange. That's what I'm
That was
saying.
it.
His name's Steven.
Stephen
Oh,
Strange.
okay, I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah, no,
But-
I'm with you.
There wasn't anything in the movie that really caught like, oh, no. I watched it once,
I think
didn't
that's
care.
why I
About it.
put it right in the middle. It was average.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I
Okay,
agree
that's
with
fair.
you. It doesn't stand out, but there's nothing wrong with it. Like it's a good story. It has some really cool stuff.
It was there.
Yeah,
You know, if it was
I'll
the
rewatch
worst,
it.
if in my opinion, if Doctor Strange was the worst Marvel movie they ever did, that would be fantastic. That would be great. But all right,
Okay.
so number 17. So number 17. I know y'all did not agree with my Civil War at number 18. So I know you're not going to agree with Guardians of the Galaxy 1 at number 17.
I'm definitely not going to
Yeah,
agree with you
that's
there.
crazy, man.
That is absolutely insane.
However, in my color coding, as you read at the beginning, my at the bottom is a combination of did I enjoy it, was it well made, or anything else? I just did not enjoy it at all.
Yeah,
However,
and
Civil
we've-
War I didn't enjoy, and it was poorly made. I had to put it below. This one was above that.
yeah, we've talked about that before. Where we don't understand why you don't like Civil War, but we do understand why you don't like
Guardians.
Guardians because you just don't like the humor, and
Yeah.
it leans on the humor a lot.
Yeah.
So,
And it's not humor in general. I mean, I have plenty of comedies I like, just not that
And
one.
that's totally understandable. I get that 100%. Yeah, like
And they made it well. The actors did a good job. Well, except maybe for, was it Drax or whatever the...
Dave Bautista played that character as a very straightforward.
yeah,
know.
dry. Like,
Yeah, but that's how the character is. So I thought he played him well for what the character is.
Maybe what the character is. I don't know. I don't know
I
the
thought-
character, but it came across as somebody who's in junior high who wanted to be an actor, but they probably should be a ditch digger because they have no ability to actually interact with anyone.
He's a professional wrestler. So
Our biggest issue with Drax is that he never does anything cool.
Yeah,
He's
like,
always the clown.
they sell you as him being like this awesome fighter, this
Like, he's
great
their
warrior,
heavy hitter,
and
but
he just
then he's not.
he hasn't done a single cool thing in either one of those movies,
Or
or
Avengers.
even or
I'm with you. I'm
Infinity
with you.
War.
But
He's-
I still like him.
He did break apart into little bits really well.
oh, yeah.
You know.
I don't know how much.
Spoiler.
Well, you know, I'm just saying that.
You'll
Hopefully by
figure it
now,
People knew we were going to spoil some stuff in this show, I'm sure.
Yeah.
at this point, if you've not seen it, who are you? Because, I mean, I'm referring to Infinity War here, and what has it made? $2 billion plus?
Yeah.
Who on the face of the planet has not
Hasn't
seen
seen it
this?
yet,
I mean,
yeah.
That's true.
it's made $2 billion. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. You're probably not listening to this podcast either.
That's true.
Yeah. All right.
40 listeners, John Paul.
Moving on around.
What you got for 17?
So here's where
I feel like we're
definitely
gonna
differ.
change a lot here.
Number 17 for me, and I just rewatched this on Netflix, Thor Ragnarok.
Ridiculous,
High five.
ridiculous.
High five.
But I will give you this: you got Thor Ragnarok. I just got Thor. It's
No rag. Just,
Nah.
I
just
like
Thor.
Thor 1 better than Ragnarok because I think they got the tone correct. Thor Ragnarok is just so over the top comedy, silly.
Absolutely.
Dumb.
Nick, you are the smartest person
And
in
it's
this room
weird
right now.
because I've watched this movie twice and it makes me laugh. Like, I laugh at stuff. But if this was like a Thor spoof, great. But it's not. It's the third movie in a Thor series, and all of a sudden,
I'm changing my list.
everybody
I'm changing my list.
acts different. And it's
I
weird.
hear you, and I get that, but like, when you look at the big picture of it, I totally get why they did it. Thor comes out, nobody likes it. Thor 2 comes out, less people
Oh, yeah,
like it.
this
So
was
they're
a
like,
great
we gotta try
business
something
decision.
crazy. So
It's the most successful of the series, so I mean, I'm in the minority here. But
No, you are not in this room. You're not. You are absolutely not in
it's
this
true in
room.
this room.
I think Matt and I would agree that instead of going there, what would have made more sense is just make a good Thor movie. Because even if you didn't dislike it as much as he did, don't change that far. Yes, Thor 1, Thor 2, not liked. Just make a good Thor.
I don't know, man. The comedy is really good in this movie, and I think it is a good Thor movie. Even if you take out the majority of the comedy, I thought the story
Actually,
and
if
the
you
action
take
is
the comedy
good
out,
still.
it is. If you take the comedy out, it was the best Thor movie.
See, I even have my problems with the story. I think they could have completely cut out all of the Sakaar stuff
Yeah.
and just left it on Asgard
Yeah.
and made a way better movie.
But,
I mean, that's just a different movie altogether.
It is.
I'm
It
actually
is.
going to jump in with Nick. I changed my list right there on the spot. Thor Ragnarok as well, man.
Number
I'm
17?
number
I will
17.
say I put Thor Ragnarok quite a bit higher than y'all.
And
That's
we're not talking about
surprising.
Thor 2 is, it's like this movie, they changed every character in this movie.
Yeah.
Every character was comic relief in this movie. Every one of them. And it's just like, I don't know, there's some amazing scenes. This is great. More jokes. Hulk was a joke in this movie. Hulk was pointless. I'm sorry. I love Hulk.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
He was
So what do you put in this spot?
Thor Ragnarok.
You're putting Thor Ragnarok in there too.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
you changed it to
I
match.
changed it. I
Okay.
changed it at the very
So we got a Thor Ragnarok. I can't believe I actually put a Marvel movie, Thor Ragnarok, much higher than y'all. Speaking of which, going to number 16, I have Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, I thought you were going to be much higher.
No, I agree. It was.
So
it was
you're
done.
on the same
However, except I loved the story that was behind the comedy. I thought the story was really good.
The story was good.
If you strip the comedy out, this movie jumps many spots higher.
I just
Perfect.
once the haircut scene happened, and I love Stanley cameos, but once he's like, "I'm gonna cut his hair," please don't cut my hair. You know what? I'm done. Thor just whined. I'm done. I'm done. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's it.
16.
Yeah.
Captain America: The First Avenger.
See, this is where I think you're absolutely insane and crazy.
It's a fine movie. In the categories, I have it as average. It's fine.
See, I think this is where you think everything old is bad comes in because it was set during World War II, which makes it old. Even
But
though
he
it
likes
was
Wonder
made
Woman
newer.
1, which was
I do like Wonder Woman. No, I
Which is
think
better, Wonder Woman or Captain America First
same movie,
Avenger?
same exact movie.
I think Wonder Woman's probably better. I think I probably enjoyed Wonder Woman slightly better. It's nothing against the movie. I think it's a good setup for who that character becomes. But just like the action's kind of uninspired. They do a lot of the montagey stuff, or like what's going on. Like, the coolest thing you see Captain America do in this movie is throw his shield to block a door from closing, which is neat because it's like comes out of nowhere or whatever. But then like even the final showdown is just him ducking behind things as Red Skull shoots at him, and it's like,
I mean, I do wish they'd done one thing. I would have loved to have more movies set in World War II, but they needed to rush him into the present to mix everything together to move towards Avengers. I mean, the title, The First Avenger. They were already heading towards the Avengers. They couldn't spend 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 movies in World War II, or otherwise he's not
Sure.
part of the Avengers. At least in movie executive thoughts. I mean, you could do it, but
yeah, I liked like the lead up to all that stuff way more. Like when he is being small Steve Rogers, or when they're working on him, when he's doing the training, when he's going around, like when they do the montage of him like knocking out Hitler 1,000 times, like all that stuff is fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's just like when the action hits and it's not very actiony. It's just
the
like
best
ugh.
action is when he chases the
Yeah,
murderer
that-
down on foot. When he
that
just
is a
very
fantastic-
first, that was cool.
Fantastic.
Because he's looking at himself like, man, this is
Whoa.
amazing.
well, this one, no joke. This one I do have much higher, but we'll get there. What do you think? Are you in the same
Where are
boat?
we at?
16?
16.
No, I go Thor, the first Thor now.
Okay, so you just
a
grouped
little
all,
bit higher
you
than
grouped
him.
all the Thors down there together.
Well, yeah.
They're the
all
weakest
low.
trilogy. I think we
And
can
I
all
like
agree
Thor.
with that.
I'll defend Thor to people who really are down
Yeah.
on it. I enjoy that movie, but
How much higher?
I'm
than
in the
first one?
ones that are I consider average because that movie does have some problems, but like I enjoyed it.
We ain't got to my any I enjoy yet.
Yeah.
We won't for a while.
All right,
It's
that
not
should be,
DC.
man.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
I just didn't care for it that much. It wasn't horrible. I'm at the point where I'm below average right now, to average. Iron Man 2 wasn't bad. It just wasn't nothing spectacular about that movie.
That's
Saw it a
fair.
few times. Villain subpower, I thought. I mean, he thought he did a good job with his part. I thought just nothing. The first one I loved so much that it did seem like a big step down to me when this came out.
I won't argue with that. Yeah, it is a step down from number one, but I think I like that movie more than most people do. Iron Man
And
2,
that's,
that
I mean,
is.
it wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad. But
All right, so Iron Man 2 is your number 16.
Yes.
It's another one I ranked way, way higher. So move to number 15, I have Iron Man 2.
yes.
There we go. I think we said all we can say about that one because everybody, I think, has mentioned Iron Man 2 at this point.
Yeah,
Haven't
that
we?
sounds about right.
Haven't we? So,
15 for me, then I went Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting it closer to the middle, but not quite to the middle
Yeah,
yet.
I labeled it as average. I felt like that movie is one big training scene and then 15 minutes of him being Doctor Strange and then the movie's over. Like him getting to the point of you actually being able to see him do something, they just go so fast. Once you get there, it's like, all right,
Yeah, I
well, this
remember you
movie's
coming
over.
in after it first went on Netflix, and you're like, man, they started. The middle of the movie started, and then all of a sudden it was over.
Yeah,
like,
it
you
just
remembered so
happens
much more
fast.
happening. And
Well, I would have ranked it much lower if I hadn't had other ones I enjoyed less.
Sure.
And I would have ranked it much higher if my main complaint had been switched, which is they have something against magic.
They
In the
don't, they don't do magic.
Right, in the cinematic universe, not in the comics, but in the cinematic, there's no magic. He has this little device he puts on his finger to do his magic. It's not magic anymore. It's now just technology. And I wanted Doctor Strange to be an all-out magic movie, and he doesn't do magic.
That movie is really unbalanced, where the magic ranges from like creating a weapon with your hand, or a portal, or like changing the face of reality.
Yeah, it's like,
it's
we can turn back
in
time.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Although he had a cool flying cloak.
he did, and that's
the cloak was cool. It was like another character.
Yeah.
and I think that scene too is and that's the thing is there's nothing about this movie that I don't like other than the fact that it's two scenes. It's just two long scenes. It's him getting in the car wreck and training. Like you push those together because he's already not a nice dude, and that just makes him less nice. And then you go from that to they're
Saving
fighting.
reality.
Yeah, they're saving reality now, and it's like okay, sure, whatever.
So did you have the same thing, or are you
No,
out of sync again?
For number, where are we?
15.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. I
Ant-Man
knew it
and
was
the
mine.
Wasp.
I
That's
enjoyed it. It was funny and it had some really fun action, but the narrative had a lot of problems.
What
and it
narrative?
just bugged me.
Did they have a story for that?
There's a
movie?
story there.
Oh, okay, I was confused.
Another one we're way out of sync on here.
Spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
You
Hope
haven't
this
seen it.
weekend.
Okay.
Okay, we won't go into details.
No
today,
details
but
on that one.
It's got some issues.
How about you, B-Man? What do you have at number 15?
Well, it's already been talked about before. Thor: The Dark World. I've only
Thor:
saw-
The Dark World made it that high on your list, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've only saw it once.
I bet when you rewatch that, it'll
And
drop.
you're probably right. I watched it once. I thought it was pretty good. Haven't really had the desire to watch it again since then. So I think once I do watch it again, I might. But I don't know. I don't like Ragnarok. Iron Man 2 was Doctor Strange didn't care for, so Iron Man 3 didn't care for, so I don't see it go much lower.
Oh no, I'm telling you, you're gonna watch this movie again and be like, "Oh, this is bad. This is a bad movie."
You're probably right, because I remember Natalie Portman she phoned it in for that one.
Oh yeah, she definitely did.
I mean, there's no question about it with her. So it might go down, honestly.
So moving into number 14, B-Man and I are still fairly in sync, actually. I've made some jokes in the past couple, but at number 14, Thor the Dark World. I did put it higher than Thor Ragnarok and Iron Man 2, but they're all kind of grouped down there together.
Which one are we doing? 14
14.
now? 14 is, for me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It wasn't a bad movie, but it took a step back in quality for sure
Huge step down
from the first one.
Absolutely.
And I just felt like it was, fine.
Now, see, now I'm torn. Either it took a step down in quality, but has the exact same problems I would have with it, which means I'd like it even less, or the things that make y'all think it's worse would actually make me enjoy it more.
No, because it's the same comedy and stuff. It's just then like the action is like
Story's not as
kind
good.
of slapsticky and stuff, and it's just like
Yeah, they actually ramped the comedy up a little bit more, so I think you would like it less.
Okay.
If I had to judge.
Fair enough.
Just didn't have as good a story.
It was a huge step down from the first one. I won't deny that. Huge step.
How about you, Nick? What do you got at 14?
14.
Doctor Strange. So we've already talked about
Yeah.
it. Good,
So it's
but not
in that
great.
same range.
Definitely in that middle caliber of all the Marvel movies.
I'm gonna go Ant-Man. My first
The
Ant-Man.
first Ant-Man.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, I've enjoyed these movies now. From this point up, I enjoyed all these movies. I enjoyed it. It was great. Saw it twice. Nothing caught out to me spectacular about this movie, other than the fact that it was just fun.
We're almost to my enjoyment line, but yeah. I have a feeling, even that aside, for the next four, probably 5 or 6, we're probably not going to be way off in that. Because once you get into the middle, I have a feeling it's going to be similar with maybe an exception here or there. It's my guess.
I will say right now, we are at the point where every movie I'm mentioning is better than any DC movie. I'm just letting you know.
Again, you notice who did not bring up DC?
You brought it up a little while ago.
Only after you brought it up.
I guess fair enough.
Okay. Number 13 for me. I think we'll probably differ on this one a little bit with some people, but maybe not everybody in the room. Age of Ultron, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. I put it number 13. So I really consider everything between like 8 and 13 is very middle of the road. Even though I still have it and you didn't enjoy it, there's scenes in it I enjoyed. I mean, there's good scenes. I do think they should have Cap actually be able to move the hammer, if not completely lift it.
That'd been great.
Like, those scenes
But
like that.
he
He
knows
nudged it.
what happened to Tony's parents, and he won't tell him. He's not worthy.
He nudged it.
He did because he's almost worthy. He
Yeah.
should just tell him, then he'd be worthy. But he didn't, so he's not.
We just need to have Superman fly in and pick it up and like, what, this thing? You know?
Mission DC. It's Avengers garbage.
How about this? I still love it. I don't know if y'all have seen it floating around online or not, but being the 50th anniversary of Mr. Rogers, there's a great scene of Mr. Rogers, or a meme of Mr. Rogers holding the hammer saying, excuse me, young man, is this your hammer? There's somebody who's worthy of holding the
Yeah,
hammer
sure.
of Thor.
I won't argue with that.
Okay, good. Well, I don't know.
How do you bring that up with Mr. Rogers?
It's good. It's because of the meme with him holding the hammer.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
Big Bird as well.
I don't know if he can hold the hammer of Thor.
He doesn't have
Yeah.
fingers. I mean,
It's magical with hammer. Of course he can
He's
hold
holding
it.
onto his teddy bear. He couldn't hold the
He'll
hammer and the teddy
figure
bear at the
way to
same
do it.
time.
He'll figure way to do it.
And what do y'all got at number 13? Here?
13 for me, I put Black Panther. My biggest problem with Black Panther is shoddy CGI. It had some real bad scenes where things look weird. And then just like the action just is not very inspired. And towards the end, I know you haven't seen it, but like they give him like a more of a thing to do with his suit, like a kind of an upgrade.
Yeah.
And then it does get a little more interesting. But up to that point, it's fast cuts of people hitting each other, or like pan outs of people hitting
Jumping
each
on
other,
cars and
or people
such.
jumping on cars. Yeah, it's like it's all very like we've seen this a lot up until this point. But with all that being said, Black Panther and everybody in the movie is fantastic at the acting. I love the world of Wakanda. I really like the lore that they get into with the different tribes and stuff. And the villain is one of the best villains you've had in any of these movies. So it's really held back by the technical and like limitations of where that story takes place.
And I can't speak to most of that since I haven't seen it. I'll just say I'm surprised you have it that low, only because it is such a huge success and so many people have it at the very tip top of everything.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that just surprises me. But that being said, we'll see.
I will say it isn't in my top list, but I agree with a lot of things you said. It is the same story
Yeah.
that we've told. It is the whole, introduce a good guy, good guy's amazing, Just bad guy's even better. Bad guy fight, bad guy beats him, should be dead.
That's kind of
Good
a
guy comes back.
symptom of most superhero origins being basically the same story.
Yeah,
And that's the problem.
That's the only problem is that comes out 17 movies into this where we've seen a bunch of origins already, so it does just feel like tried
At least
already.
this is like something being handed down.
But here's the
ancestors and-
problem with that though, and I agree with that sentiment, but that actually happens in Civil War.
Yeah,
He
it's
becomes
a
Black
different
Panther
movie.
in Civil War, so then it's like even feels even weirder because it's like, oh, he's Black Panther, but now we're going through the process of making him Black Panther again, and it's just like, oh, it's weird. And now, don't get me wrong, this is in my average. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, it's not below average. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just thought,
Average.
yeah, this as far as these movies we're looking at, it's right.
I mean,
in the
I've been a
middle
lot
for me.
higher, but yeah, I hear you.
So what's number 13 across the table here?
Guardians 2 for me. So again, we've
So,
already talked about
similar.
it. I like it a little better than he did,
But still in the same kind of range.
yeah.
And for B-Man?
John Paul, I'm with you, man. Age of Ultron, number
There we go.
13.
It's a
We
13.
talked about it already, yeah.
Which kind of disappointed me that at number 13, I'm still not enjoying them because I love the 13th. Being born on Friday the 13th, the number 13 is my favorite number.
You
and
born on the Friday 13th?
I was born on
You
Friday
never
the
told
13th.
me this.
Yes,
Now, this changed his whole
This
perspective
changed
on you.
friendship, John Paul. Why are you not Jason right now? You
I-
figure this out, man.
Having been born 12 years before that movie, it would have been completely innocent, but it would have been really cool if my parents had named me Jason.
That would have been awesome.
so incredibly cool.
That would have been, yeah, that's.
All right. So moving up to number 12. Number 12 is the last movie on my list that I rated as did not enjoy. The biggest movie of the entire pool, Avengers Infinity War. I did not enjoy Infinity War. I just didn't. Again, are there moments in it that are cool? Yes. There's moments in almost any big blockbuster like this you pick and find cool moments, but no, just did not enjoy Infinity War.
See, I want to say a bunch of things. The only thing I want to say right now is you're a fool. I can't answer any more of that. I mean, that's a foolish comment, John Paul.
It's definitely a lonely island you're standing on. I'll say that.
I'm just trying not to cry over here. Man, he hates everything I love, guys.
I just
It was better than Civil War, at least there's
But
that.
what I just don't know what you don't like about it. It was great. The bad guy just decimated everybody.
That's part of the thing he doesn't like about it.
He was such a weak bad guy.
He
Whoa,
was
whoa, whoa. I've never heard you say this before.
What?
It's getting ugly in here, guys.
No, I'm just gonna go on the table and just cry right now. What? He was a weak bad
You want
guy.
to switch sides, man?
The CGI was unbelievable. He was, and
CGI was
stuff.
great. I mean, CGI was great. There's a couple scenes here and there with that much CGI.
I was
yeah,
making
but
fun of the CGI part, but actually, I just really did not enjoy the bad guy at all in the thing. And I've gone back since then. Afterwards, I went back and read the comic. Honestly, I did not enjoy the comic.
oh
I
god,
thought I would enjoy it.
I want to vomit.
I thought the comic was worse than the movie. I did not enjoy.
That's also a lonely island you're standing on.
Did not enjoy it. I was like, "What in the world am I reading here?" It was just garbage.
I'm saying it right now. If that was a DC story, everything is exactly the same with DC story. That'd be the best movie. In my
No,
opinion.
I
It
mean,
would
I've
absolutely.
trashed plenty of DC things. Metal from this past year, horrible.
But DC
horrible.
movies you don't trash.
I have trashed DC movies.
Not part of the cinematic universe.
That's
It's part of the cinematic. No,
You know what? It's fine.
No,
Everybody has their own
It's
opinions.
not fine.
Everybody has their
It's
own
not
opinions.
fine, Matt. This is not okay.
So, what else do we have at number 12 as we go around the
I
table?
have Iron Man 2 here.
All right,
Um,
so
I have
still
Iron
in
Man
that
2
bottom.
also. I'll just
Yeah.
throw it out.
So
Well,
still in that bottom
It
area.
is. This is actually though where I changed from average to enjoyed. I actually really liked Iron Man 2. I liked to see the progression of where Tony Stark was as far as like his life and how he perceives his duty of being Iron Man. I know a lot of people give Mickey Rourke problems, and he is kind of like the lesser of the two there because I really thought Hammer was fantastic. Everything he does, I'm like, yes. Absolutely. So I
Hammer was
lean on
good.
that more for the bad guy thing, but I do understand people being like, Whiplash was kind of lame. But I really enjoyed this movie, and it was one that I rewatched, and it was like, I was like, oh, this is like, because I already did like it, but I was like, this is a pleasant surprise. I liked it more than I thought. It does kind of world build a little quicker than it should. Try to get that Marvel train going as far as like the cinematic universe goes. But knowing where all that goes and then going back and watching it helped me like it a lot more.
And you said you're at the same spot, Nick, right?
Yeah, and I've got it as average, but it's weird. Average and enjoy, like I can recognize an average movie from a movie making standpoint, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I put it in average.
Okay. And I would say my not only problem, I didn't like the movie. I had it lower on there. But one of the biggest complaints somebody else has mentioned, I love Don Cheadle as an actor. I thought it was dumb to change out Don Cheadle, and that was not because the previous actor wanted to leave. That
No,
was
he didn't
because-
want to leave.
No, that was because they thought they wanted something different and better in there, and I don't think Don Cheadle was a good trade out in that part. I'm blanking on the other actor's name, but I thought he did a much better
Terrence
job.
Howard.
Terrence
Terrence
Howard.
Howard.
I like Don Cheadle because, as far as like the snarkiness goes and the flavor of their comedy, he bounces off of Robert Downey Jr. better to me because they do seem like old buds that are like, you know,
Yeah, I
kind of
agree.
picking at each other more than him and Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard seemed like the older brother that's like, why are you the way you are
Yeah.
to him? But I get it. Like maybe that should be more their relationship. But I do like him and Don
But
Cheadle.
I don't really know their relationship in the comic that well. I enjoyed Terrence Howard's take on it.
I did
And
too.
once that's my take on it, I didn't think Don Cheadle did that as well. But you're right, he had a different take, and I love Don Cheadle. Just I
Yeah,
don't
And
think
now
it's-
he is War Machine. Like,
Yeah,
he's
like-
been in the part long enough where I've accepted it. But yeah, in that movie, I agree. I was like, I like Terrence Howard better in the first one. I had a better
Yeah.
chemistry.
And number 12,
Um,
man.
I mentioned it already a couple of times, not getting into details, but Guardians 2.
Guardians 2.
I enjoyed it, but it was this huge step down from the first movie. Nothing was nearly as good as the first one. Guardians to me.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
All right. So we have now finally moved out of movies that I did not enjoy at all.
Good job, man. We're not even halfway through the list
I
yet.
know.
See, look at that.
So the next two are
The
ones
below
that
average, right?
are just below. I actually used the words just below
you,
average.
you did write the word
Just
just. Yes,
below
you did write
average.
the word just.
So they're almost average, but
Almost good.
But when I put them next to the ones I called average, it's like if these aren't as good, so I need to at least distinguish them in some way. And I did enjoy both of these movies on some level, just not as I enjoyed them more than the ones I didn't enjoy. Enjoyed them less than the average.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So at number 11, Iron Man 3, which we've talked about plenty. I enjoyed Iron Man 3 obviously better than everybody else in the room. I had fun with it. It was way, way, way worse than Iron Man 1, but I also thought way, way, way better than Iron Man 2, which, you know, just the way it.
Okay.
Where did everybody come down on the twist in that movie with the Mandarin?
I hated it. I genuinely hated it.
Yeah.
I tried to mention it actually. Talking about
I
the
didn't
movie.
like
It was
it.
his
It's
best
the
bad
same,
guy, and he's like
same thing we're
some
talking about with Thor. It's like they use a character as a punchline instead
Yeah.
of just
Yeah.
making them a good
that
character.
that was dumb.
I think it's interesting to note, though, that you're saying you ranked it way different than us, but if you look at not the number, but you know where we actually ranked it, we're actually all very close on that.
Oh, they're
one.
close. It's
Yeah.
just it's more the enjoyment level than the number.
Yeah, you just hate all the Marvel movies.
No.
Not hate them. We're only halfway through. He's gonna get the things he
He's gonna
likes
get the ones
soon.
he likes.
Sure.
Stop seeing Marvel movies, Sean.
So what do you see at 11?
11 for me is Ant-Man. Ant-Man.
So kind of an average then.
Yeah, I mean, I put it in enjoyed. I
Enjoyed
did
it.
enjoy Ant-Man.
Enjoyed it.
I like Paul Rudd. He's enjoyable. I thought the story was pretty tight, and I like the heist feel of it. So enjoy.
How about Mr. Black Panther hat wearing Nick?
Yeah, speaking of which, it is Black Panther, and this was the
Wow,
first one I
that
put.
was a good lead-in
yeah,
for you.
Right, it was.
That was one heck.
That was the first one I put in the enjoyed category. I
Right.
really enjoyed that movie, but you know, it has its issues.
Right.
It's not perfect,
Yeah.
but it's very good.
Well, I'm gonna be in the lonely island here. This is just definitely me.
Okay.
Incredible Hulk at 11. I enjoyed it. I liked everything
When's
about
the
it.
last time you've seen that one?
It's been a while. It has been a while. I won't deny that.
Watch that one again.
And I probably need to. Some of
Are
these
you
movies,
a fan of acting? Because they don't have it in that movie.
I saw it a couple months ago. For the record, I'm not going to say where I have it yet, but saw it a couple months ago when I think it was TNT was showing pretty much all the Marvel movies leading up to Infinity War.
I will admit, Edward Norton was the wrong cast.
Oh my god.
I loved him so much better than Ruffalo.
Really?
For the role of Banner, for how I picture Banner, and I've loved Hulk my entire life.
I think Ruffalo's great.
Ruffalo just was not Banner to me. Ruffalo was a great actor. I've seen him in other stuff.
Edward Norton's Edward Norton to me. Every role he plays, Edward Norton.
I just believed
Ruffalo
him
was
as Banner.
great in Avengers 1, but like Thor Ragnarok, I didn't like him.
Yeah.
Even Infinity War, I had my issues with him.
I had issues with the character of Hulk in Infinity War, not really with him.
But you gotta wonder how much
that's
of
not
that
the
is
number
him.
we're on right now.
Yeah.
What are we doing
Oh,
here?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
You know,
All right.
in context.
How about number 10? We'll go. Number 10 is
got things to say about
the
that.
only two that I put just below average. Thor, the very first Thor, I put just below average. If you could have repeated the first half of the movie that took place in Asgard and other outer world things, other I don't know where all the other guards are: Asgard, Midgard, Non-Guard, and so on. If you could have kept it there, I would rank that movie much, much higher. It got so boring when it got to Earth until the final battle, but it got so boring on Earth. So I put it the first Thor at number 10.
That's fair. For me, I got Ant-Man and Wasp, number 10.
So you and Nick are fairly close.
Ranked
on that
as
one.
enjoyed. Yeah, I mean, my problem with that one is we won't get into too far into it because he hasn't seen it, but it's just the plot. The plot is not very good.
Nick, what do you have number 10?
Number 10, I have Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man.
So
I
we got
really
lots of
enjoyed that
Ant-Man here in the
movie.
middle.
But it's just hard for that to jump too high with so many other good movies. I
That's
don't have
fair.
anything bad to say about it.
So,
See, for me right now, the next 5 are all so close. I kind of, even right now, I'm kind of bouncing
hard
around
to
a
pick
little
'em.
bit.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to move one right now the more and more I think of it. And probably push Thor to number 10.
So you're going to match me at number 10, huh?
Yeah, I'm changing my list again as we speak. The more and more I think of it, I mean, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It just, there are better movies out there. That's all I can really say. I'm not going to trash it at all.
Well-
I enjoyed the Earth scenes. I enjoyed the Asgard scenes.
Well, with number 10, we're now in the top half of the movies, so we are at least,
Yeah, no, that's
there.
fair. That's fine. Yeah.
All right, well, it works. All right, number 9. Number 9, we start getting into my average movie range. It's going to be hard for me to pick out from here because my color coding came across as shades of gray on my printer.
Yeah.
And everything from number 9 up looks like the same shade of gray for me. So we're just
So playing right
going-
now, John Paul's 9 Shades of Grey.
But
Actually,
you can say you
3
like
shades.
these movies.
Yeah, from here up, I even the average ones I enjoyed. Just I want to distinguish between enjoyed and average to some degree. So number 9, I got Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Magic versus not magic aside, you said he's not likable. Doctor Strange in the comics has never been likable to me. I thought he nailed it. I thought that was
The actor did
exactly
a good job, yeah.
Doctor Strange. And, visually, I can only think of one person who could do Doctor Strange better, which, I'm pointed at and maybe people aren't going to.
You do
Same.
look just like Doctor
I look
Strange.
nothing like Doctor Strange, actually.
Why is it you fight against all these characters you look like?
He's closer to Reed Richards, but
No. No. We took a poll.
These are imaginary polls you're taking.
No, you guys were there. We had an expert talk to us. I look 2% like Reed Richards. 2%. That's it.
2%. Okay.
That's still 2% more than all
So
of
what do we
us.
else have? We have number 9.
Number 9 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy. I really enjoy that team dynamic. I like them coming together, but my real problem with Guardians is the action. There's none in it, really.
It's a dance scene.
There is a dance scene. Dance scene's real good. That's funny. That was good stuff. It's like you get the mining scene and stuff.
Well, what they
in the little
call,
mine carts.
which one are you talking about? Guardians, right?
Yeah.
The first one.
What they call action, like, the first action scene in it is where they're chasing after the sphere.
And see, that's good. The chase scenes in it are good. That's good.
Then the
Even them
flying-
breaking out is good.
Breaking out of jail, yeah.
The flying in nowhere, I did not enjoy. I was like, this. Come on. And this is the same scene where you get Drax just thrown in the thing. So they show you, hey, we're not good at flying things. And also, Drax is a punk. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not, no, don't get me wrong. This is in my enjoyed column. I really
Yeah.
enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
It's just, I wish the action was better. So,
What do you got, Nick? What's
This
the
is
number
number
9?
9. I actually have Guardians too.
Hey.
Although I think I like
Guardians
it better
1
than you. Yeah,
as well.
Guardians also. Yeah, I think I might like it better than you a little bit, but at this point we're all in movies that we like, so
Yeah.
it's hard to choose.
that's fair.
How about you, B-Man?
And I'm with you guys, too, as well. These next few ones, I'm so hard to choose from. I had to go Civil War. I enjoyed it a lot. I just think there's better ones out there. That's all I can say. I can't. I'm not going to trash it.
Civil War?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
You leave that to me.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that was foolish. But, yeah, I mean, we're good.
All right.
Number 9.
So number 8, Ant-Man. You notice I think I'm the only one who hadn't mentioned an Ant-Man movie yet. This is the first Ant-Man I have on here. Number 8. It was an average movie. It was not bad. I do think if you took out, is it named Lewis? Is that
Sidekick, yeah.
Sidekick?
Luis.
I think if you took Lewis out of this movie would fall a lot because Lewis really made that movie.
Yeah, he was great.
But it's a very average movie starring Paul Rudd, a very average
We're
sitcom
going to get into this.
actor. He's not bad. He's just, we went through our first 5 choices. Is Paul Rudd available? Well, of course he's available. Then get Paul Rudd.
Of course he's available.
There's nothing wrong with Paul Rudd. It's just when you need an actor to marry Phoebe on Friends, well, go with Paul Rudd. He's around. that type of thing.
Are you jealous of Paul Rudd by any chance?
No, because I don't like
I
Phoebe.
am. I'm
That's
super
why
jealous of Paul Rudd.
I-
Paul Rudd rocks.
I would hang out with Paul Rudd. I really would.
Again, there's nothing wrong with him. It's just he was very average, very, very, very average. We'll see where I get Ant-Man and the Wasp later.
Okay.
But all right, so Ant-Man number 8 for me.
This one I might get a little crap from this side of the table for, at least. I got Avengers: Age of Ultron. I feel like this movie gets a bad rap because of the Thor stuff. Everything else, I really like all the stuff out at the farmhouse. I like that it revolves around Hawkeye and like the development of that character. I thought introducing Vision was really cool. And Vision in this movie is really cool. And I mean, Ultron, guys, if we're being real with each other, he was awesome in this movie. No strings on me. Yeah, like I thought
he's one of their strongest villains.
Yeah, I thought all that was good, and I thought the fact that his plan to destroy the Earth was so much like a child's plan, and the fact that he's only been alive for a few days, like, highlights that.
He was a much better
Fantastic.
villain, and I'm not saying this to get a reaction. I just think he was a much better villain than Thanos was. Movie-wise, that's different, but I thought he was a better villain and has a better chance for long-term.
See, it's funny you say that because he wasn't. But I mean, I liked Ultron. It's hard for me right around this area that I like a lot of these movies, and I can't say you're wrong. So that's cool.
How about you, Nick?
Number 8, Captain America: First Avenger. I really like that movie a lot.
He doesn't have anything to say about it. He's just, I really like that movie.
I don't really have any problem. I recognize there's like a little bit of inherent cheesiness to some of the early stuff, but like it was on purpose. It was
intentional.
They were
that,
doing
yeah.
that throwback feel, and it worked for that.
Yep.
But when it came down to it, it was just awesome.
I mean, I can't add anymore. I mean, I ate as well, Captain America. So you and I are spot on for that. I can't change. I mean, you're exactly the same.
Number 7. Here's one I actually talked a lot bad about, but as I was ranking them, I was surprised at how high up the list it actually went. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Do you know if this is part of your enjoyed category yet?
This would be in the. Would this be an average or enjoyed? No, this was still part of average. I do remember.
Fantastic.
Yeah, 7, 8, and 9 were average.
Stop seeing my movies jump off. just stop seeing them.
So Homecoming I enjoyed better than Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor, and everything we mentioned so far, obviously. But that one was not. That one, it just as a standalone movie. If you've never picked up a Spider-Man comic or anything else, it was an enjoyable movie.
Do you guys see why it's hard being this
Was
podcast
it?
sometimes? Do you
He
guys
just
see why
wasn't
this is difficult
Spider-Man to
being
me.
hard?
He just wasn't Spider-Man.
He
to
was
me.
an amazing Spider-Man to me.
Hey,
They're amazing.
That's
Wasn't even
a different
intentional.
guy.
He
That
wasn't
was a different guy. I don't know.
I still like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
Yeah, you would.
So for number 7 for me, Thor Ragnarok. So let the hate flow
I think
through.
you're the only one that goes that high with that one.
I mean, the comedy is funny. What is comedy supposed to do? Make you laugh. Do I laugh during this movie? Yes. But is there also awesome action scenes? Absolutely.
It was
yes.
a comedy movie. And
Yeah, they set out to make a comedy and they nailed it. They nailed it. They made it funny.
I didn't laugh that much.
Well, you didn't like Guardians either, and it's very similar in that
Yes,
vein.
it is.
And I thought, and to be fair, I mean, I get it. If your problem is like there's too much comedy in it, I totally get that. But I thought even the dramatic stuff that they tried landed, like when they're on the mountain or on the cliff face with their dad or whatever, and they're dealing with that.
That's a good
I thought
scene.
all that landed. I thought in the elevator when him and Loki had that moment, he's like, I thought we were gonna fight together forever, but you're you and I'm me. I'm like, oh,
If you took
you are you.
if you took the comedy out of this movie, and again, it's not because I don't like comedy. It was I don't like that comedy. I thought it ruined the movie. But if you took that stuff out, I would move Ragnarok way high up on the list.
Yeah, me too. Top
Because
five,
the
easy.
stuff worked so well.
Sure, yeah.
The play when Loki is Odin and the play
Matt
going on.
Damon just shows up.
That stuff was done so well. You're right. All of the dramatic, even the stuff that there was humorous stuff in it that worked, but the stuff that didn't work so badly.
Yeah, and that's
it just detracted.
again, that's definitely one I get though. Like if that's not your cup of tea, I totally get it not being super high on your list. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought the action was cool.
So obviously, Nick over here is going to have a very different number 7. What do you have number 7?
Number 7, I have the first Iron Man.
All right.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
getting into the movies that I really, really like, but it's just it's dropped over time. I mean, it's just the way it is. Doesn't have all the characters I love. It's just
I have it higher
Tony
because of the
Stark and Iron
rewatchability.
Man.
When I
It
go
is,
back and
it's
rewatch
super
them,
rewatchable.
that's why I have it higher.
you and I had the same number at least, but we're different opinion in the movie, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, both at 7.
And the next 4 are all back to back. They're really, really close to me. This could be number 7, this could be number 4. They're all so close. What you failed to mention Homecoming was one of the best villains. Michael Keaton was amazing in this movie.
He did a great job. Absolutely
He was
great
like
job.
hands down one of the best. He's the best part of this movie.
The scene in the car as they're dropping them off for the dance.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, that was one of the best scenes.
Yeah,
One
I mean,
of the best twists I've seen in a long time.
Oh, absolutely.
that was good.
I thought Tom Holland was a great Spider-Man. I really do. He was much better than Tobey
Preach.
Maguire, much better than Andrew Garfield.
Preach.
Yes, on the Garfield. Yes, absolutely on the Garfield.
No, he
The
was
best
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man ever.
He is what Peter Parker reminds me of Spider-Man. He has a dorkiness about him. Absolutely has a dorkiness down, but he has a hero part of him as well. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Absolutely, Andrew Garfield there.
Right here again.
Right there. Again, number 7, number 4. We're gonna
I
do
just-
it again. Do it again. Do it
I
again.
just don't want- I just don't want skateboard dude to
He
be
wasn't.
Spider-Man.
When
He
did
was
he do
skateboard
that? When did he
dude.
do that? No, he never did that.
I don't know. It's just
Andrew
like-
Garfield actually rode a skateboard.
He
in
was a
this.
math nerd.
Yeah, when
He
the
was.
first time
He
you
was a
meet him, he's
skateboard
like
dude to
collecting
me.
things out of the trash to make circuit boards.
His
with.
buddy
Like,
comes over his
come
house Friday night to do Legos. I mean, he
Yeah,
was Andrew
he's
Garfield.
He's a
super
real
nerdy.
nerdy. He goes to a school for all nerdy kids.
on. He's the nerdiest of the nerd
Okay,
kids.
how about this? We'll close out the Spider-Man comments because we could go forever on that. We'll close this out with one I think we might all agree on. Doesn't it feel wrong to see him walk in and actually, as you're watching the movie, go, "Wow, Aunt May's hot"?
No,
Isn't
I
that wrong?
enjoyed that a lot. I was like,
I'm with you in that. That's a little
Aunt May
wrong.
is in fact high. Yes.
But it's wrong to think of Aunt May.
They
as
changed
hot.
Flash Thompson. My only really big complaint about that movie. Flash Thompson should have been the dumb jock,
Yeah,
and he was the nerdy.
He was the
kid.
closest you could get at that nerd school.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so number 6. I know I'm going to get some hate on this probably because I have it this low from so many people who love this movie. And I have it now into the enjoyed.
Oh,
we
sweet.
now have-
We enjoy these movies. Nice.
and in fact, I only have
Top
one
6
movie
movies.
had just plain enjoyed. Everything above this next movie is really
Yeah,
enjoyed.
okay.
So I have one movie that just the plain enjoyed, and that is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I enjoyed Winter Soldier. It didn't have as much rewatchability as the ones above it for me. It's a little dark. There's scenes in it that you can watch over and over and over, but as a whole movie, it's not as rewatchable as
The
ones
elevator
above.
scene was awesome.
Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
the best
Yeah,
scene. The
absolutely.
best scene. All right, what do you got there?
Number 6 for me is Iron Man. I really like Iron Man. My big problem with Iron Man is Robert Downey Jr. has not completely found himself in that role yet. He's clearly Tony Stark, but you go back and look at him, he's just not as edgy, and he's not as it's not as many jokes and stuff. I mean, for some people, they probably like that. But
That was his comeback movie, I believe, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm not saying he was bad in the role by any means, but like you see him in Avengers in comparison to Iron Man, he's just clearly I'm very, very comfortable in this role.
I think
4
though,
movies
I
in,
think
you
at
know?
some point though it became too comfortable. I still enjoy
No,
watching it.
absolutely
No,
not.
But at
You're
some
crazy.
point,
Great.
at
He
some
is-
point, he's a little bit. He's almost a characterization of himself. At some
No,
point,
he is fantastic.
Yeah, my absolutely favorite thing about that movie though is seeing him build the Iron Man suit and kind of like understand it when he's like, oh, increase booster thrust, by 60% or whatever. Like he doesn't do that type of stuff in the new movies. It's just implied that that's happening in there, and I really like that, like the nuts and bolts of what's going
The
on.
only problem with that movie really is it had a really weak villain, which was a common theme across Marvel movies
Sure.
for a long time.
Not for Thor. Actually, was one of the worst, and he was best villain was Loki.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying it was. People mention that for a long time.
Okay.
They've
Yeah.
had a lot of
And
weakness.
I will even go as far as saying he doesn't become bad in that movie until he turns into Ironmonger. Like
Yeah.
the business partner that
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
double
he's
cross
fine.
you, all that I'm cool with. And even him going like maniacal, I kind of get, but it's just like that last scene where he's like, I'm just going to build a bigger suit than yours and crush you. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
When he reveals he's the bad guy, taking the photos, puts his arm around Tony, and then
Yeah.
whispers, who do you think was foreshadowed?
That was good. I like
Yeah,
that.
you're right. Up to that point, that was good. What do we got, Nick? What do you got at number 6?
Number 6, Age of Ultron. So I'm the highest on this
Wow,
one.
yeah.
I really like that movie.
That's a
lot.
good movie.
I walked out of that
I'm gonna
defending
watch it
it
again.
against other people that were talking bad about it. And yeah, the only awkward stuff is the Thor stuff. And that does feel awkward. But if you go back and watch it, it's a minuscule part of that movie.
And maybe it's not fair to them, but it has to be said, their Quicksilver paled in comparison to the Quicksilver done over in the
That's
X-Men.
fair.
Sure.
That's fair.
I agree.
And it's unfortunate maybe for them, but it's just the way
It's
it is.
I do
almost
think-
like he knew it because he's not in any of the
He's
movies
like, you know
anymore.
what,
And
how
the
about,
good part of that was Scarlet Witch.
The
so-
ironic part is both those Quicksilvers are both in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, they're like
They're
buddies,
both,
right?
yeah.
What do you got number 6 there?
And 6, like 4 through 6, they're all so close, and it's so hard to pick them apart. I'm going Infinity War right now. That could change. Back to number 4, because Infinity War, I loved it. I thought Infinity War was great. I left the theater just what I wanted. It was exactly what I wanted. The bad guy just go out there and just demolish everything. I thought Thanos was great. I really do. But the action was great. I know you don't like the Guardians of the Galaxy. They played a big part of that movie, so that probably affected it with you.
I did, absolutely.
Early on in the movie, he kills Loki. My heart sank a little bit. Like, wow,
That's the only death in that movie that really hurt. That one, what you felt there in that.
Yeah, I will say I wanted more Hulk than it was, but I thought it was a great movie. I really do. I love that movie.
They just set Hulk up for his triumphant return, is all.
Fair enough.
All right.
And I like to see him come back.
So
Fingers crossed.
So since we're getting close on our time, I didn't know if we were going to have to cut this off early. We only have 5 more movies to go.
Let's
We're going
do
to try
it. Let's
to.
do
We've
it.
talked about so many of them, so we can get through these last 5 pretty quick. So number 5 for me, because from this point up, it's really enjoyed for me. Which we're now kind of on the same beat with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. I got Avengers at number 5.
I also have Avengers number 5. We lined up on that one. I mean, what is there to be said about this movie? Come on.
It's fantastic.
I've got Homecoming number 5. I loved it.
Yeah, do
For
a
the
flip,
same reasons
Spider-Man.
these two loved it.
Do a flip.
I'm at Black Panther again. I thought it was a great movie. The story's been told already. I just thought the story was told better. A lot of fun in Black Panther.
So number 4, I got Iron Man. I just, again, rewatching it, it comes on a lot. I can watch it over and over and just enjoy it every time. And I think it's because Tony Stark, or Robert Downey Jr. hasn't come fully into his own, so he's not as over the top, and his brilliance just shows through. His just natural acting brilliance really shows through. I like that before he really gets into it. So.
Number 4 for me is actually The Winter Soldier, and if for no other reason, is that Nick Fury scene. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Come on. Whew. Talk about an action scene, man.
The movie is great.
Okay. What do you got, number 4?
I've got Avengers 1. So,
Right, so
again,
we're all
the
pretty
same
close on that.
reasons
Same.
you guys said.
John Paul, you're not spot on. Iron Man number 4.
There we go. Now here's where I'm going to differ in the top 3 quite a bit for everybody. I've got Incredible Hulk at number 3. I've always loved the Hulk. When I've had to cut back on buying comics and had Marvel Comics in the mix, Hulk and Spider-Man were the only 2 I'd buy. I love the Hulk. And probably if I had to cut back further, the Hulk is the only one I'd get. Peter David's running everything else. I love the Hulk. And
that was good
coming
run.
from all of that, I love Edward Norton. I thought the take on Bruce Banner and everything they did with the Hulk and that was great, and the Abomination. It just hit all the notes for me of what I like as a Hulk fan. So I had to put it up at number 3. Good, better, otherwise. That's where I
You
had
just
to go.
threw me off here. Number 3 for me is Spider-Man Homecoming. I love Spider-Man Homecoming. It's so good. Just seeing Spider-Man be Spider-Man. All the other things, that we already said about it. Such a good movie. Such a good movie.
Number 3 for me is Infinity War. So, I mean, what's there to say? It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's really hard at the top here. So
Yeah.
you really just go
Top
with your
and bottom,
favorites.
the top and bottom are where you really get out of sync, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I might have sing too because I have Guardians. The first Guardians at number 3. I love Guardians. I admit some parts weren't great, but I laughed the entire movie. I thought the chemistry was great. I love Guardians 1.
Okay. Number 2, Captain America: The First Avenger for me. It had been number 1 for me for ages. I love period pictures. I love war pictures. I like the hero who is always the good guy, who always stands up for what's right. That's why I like Superman as my favorite character. Cap is his equivalent, not power set, but his equivalent at Marvel. I just thought they nailed everything about Captain America. Perfect.
That's fine. Here we go. Here's a real number 2 though. Captain America: Civil War. At least in the same franchise. Civil War's so good. I mean, come on. Everything about that movie. Spot on.
We're gonna have a show where you two just sit down and really get in the weeds and debate that movie.
Well, our top and bottom are the exact reverse here.
Fantastic.
So, what do you got, Nick?
I have Civil War also.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going Avengers. Avengers to me was, until just the perfect superhero movie. It was a perfect setup to Avengers. Paid off perfectly. I loved every minute of Avengers. 2.5 hours long too, right? 2.5 hours long. Never once
Close
dragged
to
me.
it. Yeah, close to that. If
I
not.
enjoyed every bit of it.
And Civil War is like Avengers, but with more characters.
Yeah.
I just like it that much more.
It was an Avengers movie.
Avengers
no matter what
had
they
so
called
much
it.
build up to it, though.
But I will say they kept the plot close to Captain America's heart,
Yeah.
and we focused on him, so it does still feel like
Yeah.
a Captain America movie.
Fair enough.
All right, so number 1, here's one where B-Man can't really comment because he hasn't seen it yet, and everybody else will disagree with me. I absolutely, no question, hands down, loved Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I know it's the most recent one. Could this change over time as I've seen it over and over and over on TV like the others? Sure. But it just... I walked out of there going, wow, I love that movie. And maybe part of that's because the first Ant-Man to me was so average.
So blah.
And this one just was great. And true, could it have a tiny bit to do with the fact that Michelle Pfeiffer is the perfect Hollywood woman for
Sounded
me?
like it as you talked
But
about
she didn't
it.
have that big of a role in the movie.
I know she's in the movie, so
Yeah.
no spoiler. Jerk.
Well, she's in the trailers. So.
Is she really?
Yeah. But still, I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp and just thought it was great. It's definitely, of a lot of these, the most family-friendly. I mean, it's the one you can bring kids of all ages, family, and just watch this over and over.
My number one, of course, is Avengers: Infinity War, for all the reasons everybody's already said, but also because this
Except
movie.
me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This movie made me tear up twice when Tony Stark gets stabbed by Thanos, and you think like, oh, this is 10 years in the making, and we're about to watch Iron Man die. Like my eyes swell up. I'm like, oh my god, no.
Again, how do you not like these characters you've been so attached to? For every movie?
Exactly. I'm super attached.
I'm shocked by this. I am.
And then, of course, I don't want to go Mr. Stark. Also,
That-
I was
that was
like,
brutal,
no,
man.
dude,
That was brutal.
he acted that. He acted it so well. So yeah, number
you
one
see a
for
little
sure.
kid die in front of your eyes. It's
Oh my
brutal.
God, it was so good, so good.
I agree.
Hey, Nick.
All right, number one for me is Winter Soldier.
All right.
It's
I've heard a lot of
definitely-
people say that.
It's definitely my favorite. I think
Is B-Man agreeing with number one on
Yeah.
that? Okay.
I think every action scene is perfect. It's the best action scenes in the whole.
And they changed the universe.
Yeah, they
Like,
did.
The
yeah.
huge twist in that movie, like, wow, Hydra won. We just didn't realize it. Hydra won years ago. We just never realized it.
What helps the action in that movie too is that it's all toned down, so it's like ground level.
Yeah, there is
stuff.
no super heroics. Like
Yeah.
he's the most super in the film, so the things that he's doing are incredible. Even though on the scale of other Marvel things, it's lesser. And it just makes it easier. So, like the combat is like visceral
And it's funny because all of these
Hits you so
characters, I
hard.
like Iron Man better as a person, all these characters, but Captain Winter Soldier I thought was the perfect movie to me.
It was a great
It
story.
was-
They did
yeah.
that like spy thriller thing,
And I loved it.
So
I loved it.
well.
My guess is you will not put Ant-Man and the Wasp at number one when you see it. I'm hoping you at least enjoy it when you
I
finally
mean,
get
really,
there. But
from pretty much from Civil War or even Infinity War up, it's really hard to. Those are great movies to me, all of them.
Yeah, I could wake up any morning and be like, actually, this wouldn't have said it out.
and that's how I feel, really. Like, if you told me Avengers or Iron Man Avengers or Black Panther or Spider-Man, whatever it is, they're all so enjoyable. It was hard to stop.
one of these days we're going to need to go through the non-MCU movies, the Deadpools and X-Men's and Fantastic Fours and all that, and I think we'll all put Fantastic Four at the bottom, but other than that, yeah.
Well, I mean, Deadpool's the best.
That's debatable.
All those X-Men movies were
debate there.
really, really good, but that's a different debate for a different time. But I really want to thank our Hard at Work team here for joining us on this.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks for having
absolutely,
us.
yeah.
And for holding back and not trashing someone like leaving, too bad, leaving that to B-Man to...
I did not do that.
You kind of did.
I think Matt almost flipped the table at one point.
Run through the wall here.
So, for the Old Titans and Hard at Work, this is John Paul.
B-Man.
Hard work, Matt.
Hard at work, Nick.
And not the Geeks Worldwide Network.
Oh.
That is
We
true.
are out of here.